This evening in the shop I will be enjoying Moon Tower American Stout from Sucrums Brewing in Winnipeg. So they describe it as an American stout with heavy malt flavors, roasted coffee-like aromas, and a hint of dark, rich chocolate in the taste. But as I prefer, all those flavors are coming strictly from the brewing process, not from the addition of anything beyond standard beer ingredients. And tonight's subject is this bug zapper unit here. It's very common. You've seen these things around for a long time. Basically, there's two AA batteries in there. There is a high voltage low current generator in here. So when you push the switch, the LED comes on and it generates a high voltage across alternating sets of these metal rods up here. And if you happen to whack into an insect, it tends to get high voltaged. Low current, but enough to stop the bug from, well, bugging you. The problem with this one is that it doesn't power on. So, either this is going to be a repair mission, hopefully, or a curiosity teardown. Either one is a desirable outcome. So for any troubleshooting mission, the first thing to check is obviously the batteries. These are brand new batteries, or close enough to brand new. So 1.5 volt batteries times 2 equals more than 3 volts. That's fine. So from there, I guess we will just dig inside and see what's not working in this thing. Where's a little screwdriver? That'll do, I think. So there's 3 Phillips screws on the back of this thing. And that lifts the... Oh, okay. It comes apart that direction. Fine. Alrighty then. So what do we have in here? We have the positive wire going down to the board. We have the negative wire going over to the... Oh. That's probably my fault there. Okay, so this is going to be an easy repair. Anyway, the negative wire, which is, also red, goes over through the little switch and onto the board. The board, we have an LED, some resistors, big transistor here, transformer, a few other components hiding underneath this capacitor. The capacitor is in parallel. Is it? Yes, it is. It's in parallel with both the board and the death grid over here, which means it's probably doing RF suppression just so that this thing doesn't cause high voltage, high frequency spikes all over the place and slaughter, everything, every radio in the area. Let's just lift that guy out of there. Yeah, you can see those guys in parallel. Okay. And hiding under it, we have a couple of diodes and a couple more resistors. So this is going to be a fairly straightforward little 1 transistor oscillator, a very high ratio transformer to create some high voltage, a couple of diodes on the secondary side to DC it, so half wave or half bridge rectifier, and then again this capacitor over here. What is it? 40/100/21X2. Class X2 capacitor. Okay, so yeah, as I said, that's just going to keep this thing from causing too much interference. I think I am going to quickly draw this out just so we can take a closer look at it, since the repair part of this video is going to be really quick. So near as I can tell, here's what we've got. Very low component count, but it took me a little while to figure a couple of things out. First, the simple stuff. Power, V plus, V minus, power switch. It could go up there, but it happens to go down there. It doesn't matter. It'll work in either place. We have a 75 ohm resistor, the LED. That's easy. Then we have the transformer. That took me a bit of time to figure out just because of the way it was laid out. It's physically laid out with 3 pins on one side and 3 on the other, but electrically it's laid out like this. So one end of the transformer on the primary winding goes straight to V+. The other end, oddly, goes back to V+, and yes, I checked it a couple of times, through a 2K resistor. Then there is this device here. I've drawn it as a MOSFET, and it's kind of a MOSFET output device, but not quite. Let's quickly go to the data sheet and then I'll come back to this. It's an MIP 502 device, which Panasonic calls an intelligent power device. It has an N-channel MOSFET output. The 502, there's a couple of them on this data sheet, but the 502 is a 1 watt device. And there is what it looks like, which matches. The pins are labeled drain source and in, which is unexpected. There is the block diagram of it. So it does have a MOSFET, an N-channel MOSFET at the center of it, but then it's got these over voltage and over current protection circuits surrounding it, and a reset circuit between the source and actually between all 3 pins. So here it's got them labeled again, drain source and in. The in is connected to the gate of the MOSFET. Actually, all 3 pins are connected to the MOSFET internally. This other stuff's just kind of surrounding it. And there's a little bit of description about how it works. And again, how that works is not that much different than a MOSFET. So I'm not quite sure what makes this thing intelligent. It doesn't really give you too much detail. So what I think happens in here is when the power comes on, you get voltage coming onto the gate of the MOSFET inside this package. Let's just pretend it's a MOSFET for now. That causes current to flow through the, or from the drain to the source, which is the negative side. And that current flow through this transformer, through this part of the primary, causes current flow in the secondary, because that's how transformers work, but also that brings the gate low and shuts this guy off, so you get oscillation in there. As soon as the gate gets shut off, current flow stops, the drain is no longer lower than the gate, and the whole thing starts over again. That's what I think happens. What frequency does that happen at? No idea. Could be anything, just depends, I guess, on how quickly this guy switches. Anyway, those oscillations are going to, as I said, induce a magnetic field into the secondary, which creates current flow in the secondary. That current flow is also going to have a very high voltage on it, this resistor. And these 2 diodes rectify it into a DC, and with no path really, except for this 22 meg resistor, but its job is to discharge the protection cap that we have on the output. I guess at 0.22 microfarads is going to charge up a little bit too. And then that leads to over here, the output, which is this grid over here. And as I said at the outset, these are alternately connected. So this one and this one are connected together, but this one is the other side and it's connected to this one. And if your insect is bridging across that, then he becomes a short circuit, the path of least resistance for whatever voltage is built up in that capacitor. At least that's how I understand it. That makes sense. It sounds like a reasonable oscillator circuit. So let's put this guy back together here and let's solder down that wire, which is the entire reason that I opened this thing up in the first place. Clean the old solder and the broken wire off that pad. Refresh it with some nice new solder. Tin this, I guess, just to make it go a little bit easier. And gob that on there. Need to heat up that steel a little bit more. Oh, come on. There. That ought to do it. Now, before we toss this thing back together completely, let's just try it out quickly and see at least if the light comes on. Where's my plastic button here? Yeah, we get an LED. That's good. Oh yeah, I'm getting a bit of sparking over there. That's good. Now we're safe to put it back together. Content in the knowledge that this is going to solve all of our insect problems. Now that was a simple enough repair. I guess it should have been the fairly obvious repair too, not really a surprise what could have gone wrong with this thing. Where's that screw go? That one goes up there. So anyway, hope you found that slightly informative. I certainly learned a little bit. I didn't know that that device existed, for example. I thought it would be something a little bit different, but it is a pretty straightforward circuit all in all. So there we go. I can go and happily massacre insects again. Well, thanks for watching. Questions and comments down below as usual. I'll talk to you later.